Amen? We must continue to grow in this area because it is well needed. I want to thank all of you for showing up to hear a portion of God's holy and divine word. And I don't want to stay long in my preliminaries, and I definitely won't be long in my message.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm just going to give you a little bit of what God has given me, and then I will take my seat. The topic that has been given me, or the text that has been given me, is 1 Timothy, the 4th chapter, and the verse is number 12. 1 Timothy, the 4th chapter, and the verse is number 12. And the topic is, the Bible speaks on love in spirit, in faith, and in purity.
Amen.
And we're going to let the Bible speak. Amen?
Amen.
Now, when we look at this particular text, Paul is exhorting Timothy, and he tells Timothy, he says, look here, son, you keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. Don't give up. All right. Previously in other books, preferably Corinthians, Titus was known as one who was well ready to work in the Lord's will. Right. Yes. And so Titus was ready to jump into the work, starting a church, or being ready to be placed in the work of the Lord, congregationally. But Timothy was a little shallow. He wasn't as dominant as as Titus was. So Paul, in this particular book here, decides to exhort Timothy, give him a little encouragement, the young man. Right. Every now and then, we young men need some encouragement from your older men. Amen? Right. Your older preachers, because we don't know everything. Amen? Whether we be young in age or whether we be young in the gospel. We don't know everything, so we need a little help from our older ministers. We need some mentoring. We need to be guided. We need to be led. We need to be instructed. Amen? Amen. We're just growing up as babies, growing into teenagers, young adults, and then as you are, fully mature in the gospel. So Paul encourages Timothy, son, keep going. Don't give up. And as you keep going, when we look at verse number 12 of 1 Timothy, the 4th chapter, Paul says, let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in purity. Paul is giving instructions to Timothy, showing him how his character should be as a young preacher. When I look at the word let, that word shows me that there's power in the word let. How many of you know that there's power in that one little word, let? Paul says now, son, Timothy, don't you give authority. Don't the very beginning that I have control. But if I give up my control, I'm letting you do whatever you will. So Paul says, Timothy, let no man, I don't care who it is. Paul says, Timothy, just because you're young, don't you allow no man. It can be mother. It can be father. It can be sister. It can be brother. It can be, no matter who it is. Paul says, no one. Don't you give control of your life, of your ministry, of your walk with the Lord, of your gift to no